Good day, good people. You're listening to Lifting the Veil. I'm your host, Cari-Lee, and today I have the opportunity to speak with Jon Marleau, who is from Welland, Ontario, and has spent his time since the 15th at Occupy Toronto, and he's here to talk with us, with me today, for all of you. How you doing, Jon?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Not too bad at all. Now, so everybody knows, not like it matters, but I'll tell them anyway. Jon works with my husband, John, at Agro Green Canada, and so they're coworkers. And Jon, what made you decide that you were going to go out to Occupy Toronto?
You know, I don't know what the initial reason was that I went, really. I just kind of read a lot about it. I thought it was a good thing. Basically, all these people coming together for the same cause, for a cause that would essentially better humanity. And I just knew for some reason that I had to be there. And it's one of the best decisions I've ever made.
That's awesome. So when you got there, what did you find?
Well, I actually went up, it started on Saturday, but I actually went up Friday night. And I kind of just went on a whim. I'm very spontaneous, and I just kind of went. I wasn't prepared. I didn't bring anything. So I went. I had nowhere to sleep, anything like that. Right away, I found a friend, crashed that Friday, got up Saturday morning, went down to the march, and was blown away at the amount of people that were there. I had no idea that it was that big of a deal in Toronto, that we could actually get that many people out. And, yeah, I mean, it was fantastic. There were so many people all there for the same reason. And, I mean, they had their own individual reasons for being there, but they were all in unison, and it all came together. It was really nice.
That's fantastic. Did you see a lot of diversity within the crowd?
Absolutely. I mean, there were ages from, I would say, 6 years old to 70s, 80s, probably 90s, from every skin color. I mean, it was all over the map. It was really, really a good combination of people.
That's fantastic. It's nice to hear that everybody's coming together in unity like this, because we know that we're living in times where this is exactly what's needed, and that I'm so glad that I get to talk to somebody who we know that's been there. Now, what did you find yourself doing in the days that came ahead? Because obviously you stayed more than one day. You just got back yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I did everything. I did everything I possibly could to help it move smoothly, help it move along. I joined every possible committee that I could. I probably went too far with it and stretched myself thin. I know there was a good group of us that really only slept for about an hour and a half to 2 hours a night, up until last night when I actually did come home. Just doing as much as we could, organizing committees, running committees, and just keeping the peace, making sure everything was going smoothly.
That's awesome. Now, when you're talking about committees, explain to the people what you mean by that. Like, how are things being run down there?
Essentially, the way it's being run is that the overall rule is there's no leader of anything. No leader of a committee. There's no leader of the overall events. Nothing like that. So it's just everybody coming together. It's all volunteer. And essentially what goes on is we have these different committees that people have just sprung up out of nowhere, whatever they thought needed one. And it's basically just groups of people getting together, thinking of ideas. For example, we have the logistics committee, who deals with mostly all the donations coming in, for food, blankets, and they kind of send it away to where it's supposed to be, whether it's at the food tent or wherever the donations are to be sent out.
Sure.
We've got a music committee, which organizes or tries to get all the musicians together and kind of busk. We were doing a little bit of busking to raise money for the food tent, actually.
That's beautiful. And there's nothing better than music. I
mean,
really.
Not. And I mean, we had a samba band come in. The way that they work is they're a completely volunteer, free samba band, and they came in on Saturday, and they had so much fun that they actually started having their weekly meeting. I think they meet 3 times a week, and they started just having them at the park that we were in.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I mean, the best part about it is it's so many people coming together that wouldn't normally ever meet each other for the same cause, for the same reasons, and you would be surprised, I know I was, at how everybody actually got along, how it went so smoothly, and it's going so smoothly.
Now, here's a question for you. How has the security been there? How have the police been treating everybody? How much has it changed since the G20, we'll say?
Personally, I wasn't at the G20, but from everything that I've seen and read and watched, this is the complete polar opposite. One thing that we have with the police right now is we actually have an agreement that as long as we keep ourselves under wraps and there's no violence, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, and everything's under wraps within the park, they won't step in unless they're needed. And I've personally walked around the park and talked to various police and various security around businesses around us as well. And they're very cool. They're very laid back. They understand why we're there. They're not trying to interfere. And yeah, I mean, it's really nice. We also have one of the ways that we're trying to kind of keep everything safe. We have a team called the Marshals, and anybody can join in. Anybody can volunteer. And basically, what they do is they walk around, make sure everything's safe during the day, make sure the committees are going smoothly, and everything like that. We do have another team called the Night Owls, which I was a part of for most of the time I was there. And I believe it starts at 8 o'clock at night, and we go 4-hour shifts all the way through the night. We go in teams of 2, usually 3 teams or 4 teams. And basically we just patrol the perimeter, we patrol inside, making sure everybody is, they're safe, nobody's being secluded, and just making sure everything's going smoothly.
That's fantastic. It's good to know that everybody's looking out for each other. Everybody's banded together. I mean, look at how easily everybody can come together. We could do this. We're doing this on a global scale. We could all, as one world, we could do this. We're proving it right now.
I completely agree. And I mean, the big thing is that not only can we do this, but look how much we've done and how far we've gone overnight. Let alone the week that we've been there. Every day it grows. Every day we have new ideas, new ways to set up the general assemblies, new ways for the committees to work along with each other. And it's just one big growing process.
That's beautiful. Now, what about guest speakers that you've had that have been there, that you've got to listen to? Who are some of the people that are coming out and showing support towards the cause?
For me personally, I've been really busy with organizing and helping other committees, so I really haven't had a huge chance to kind of actually take a breath in and enjoy some of the guest speakers that have come in. I did have a chance to catch a comedian that was there, though, and fortunately I don't know his name. He was really good, and he was really good at bringing up morale and just overall positive vibes and positive attitude. I'm trying to think of who else we've had. I know there's been quite a few. Unfortunately, like I said, I haven't had a chance to really catch it all of them.
Right, well, you know what? It's nice to know that you have been so at the heart of it and busy taking care of people. It's good to know that there's people like you out there doing that and that you're surrounded by others, and it's a wonderful thing to hear, and I'm glad that I'm able to show this beautiful side of this occupation. I think it's wonderful. Now, as far as I heard that there's been the Canadian First Nations were there, and that things had turned into a drumming circle. I saw that there was drumming on YouTube on the Occupy Toronto YouTube site channel, and that was absolutely powerful. Did you get to participate in any of that? I
did. That's pretty much where I spent my time when I haven't been volunteering. I mean, that's kind of the reason why I haven't had a chance to check out any of the guest speakers. Being a musician myself and believing so strongly in music and what it can do, every chance I possibly had, I've joined a drum circle or even just single musicians. There's a band, they're called Down by Riverside. I believe they're from Toronto. I could be mistaken. I know most of them are brothers, and they were down there. Fantastic people, great views, and I've had the chance to jam with them, along with the First Nations people as well. And it's just, overall, it's powerful. It's really what it is. I mean, it's great because it's not one group of people. It's, like you said, the First Nations are there, and you see these people in their, basically what they do on a regular basis. They're doing their own routines. their own. There's people praying for whatever religion it is that they believe in. And nobody's coming along and slandering them. Nobody's coming along and saying, hey, you can't do that. And oftentimes I've noticed we actually have a section where there's a lot of them praying together from different religions. They're all praying together and practicing their religion on the same rug, essentially.
That's, it kind of makes you wonder why there's so much hate and war going on. But it's such a wonderful precursor to what I think, and I think a lot of people think is coming up in the future.
I agree.
So that's fantastic. Now, you have plans on going back up, you said?
I do. I've really become attached with it. One big thing that they're pushing, that we're all pushing, is meet your neighbor. I don't know if you've had a chance to check out any pictures of the tent city that we have set up there that's ever growing, but...
Yes, I have. It's fantastic.
It's great, isn't it? I mean...
It really is.
It is literally a community inside a park, and it's so surreal to look around. You see grass, you see trees, and through the trees you see skyscrapers. It's unreal.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, there's so many tents and so many people that we're really trying to push to meet your neighbors, go out and meet people, shake people's hands, go talk to people you may not even have ever thought of talking to before. And that's a huge reason why I want to go back, is because not only do I want to support the cause, but now I have friends there. I have friends who I really enjoy hanging out with that I want to go back and see them.
For sure, that's beautiful. That's this is a wonderful, wonderful story, and I'm so thankful that you decided to share it with all of us. Now, when you go back, how long do you plan on staying for this time?
Well, I do have to work, so I do have to come back, and I am in a couple bands who do have shows coming up. So I know I will be there at least until Monday. That's my plan. And then I'm going to come back, basically practice with those bands, work, play those shows, go back every weekend as much as I can. I'm basically there for the long haul. I mean, it's affected me to the point that I've actually come home and started selling everything I have so that I can be, I guess you could call it minimalist, because of so many people that I've talked to there who live like that. You don't need toys. You don't need all these superficial things, all these items that...
Trinkets and baubles.
Exactly, that you think you need to make you happy, but you don't. You need to meet people. You need to create communities like this, and that will make you happy.
That's fantastic. And it's so very true. We don't need so very, very much. And we did the same thing. We went through a huge purge where we just went through the house and went, oh my God, there's so much we don't need. Why do we have it all? And that's something that's just absolutely huge, understanding that there is no need, it's just the basics. You need love. That's what you need.
Exactly. Yeah, I completely agree 100%.
For sure. Now, the overall message that you see coming through, like everybody's agreeing and you're all organized and prospering that way. What's the overall message that you're trying to send out, would you say? What would you say? That is everybody agreeing on a certain thing, or is it scattered? Do you see a lot of confusion that way?
This is where it gets a little bit tricky, because I guess it depends on who you ask. I can only speak for myself, personally. The overall message, I'm not a very political guy. I don't do well with statistics. I don't handle numbers very well. So as far as that goes, I don't really... It's not that I don't pay attention to it and I'm not conscious to it. It's just that it doesn't stick with me. So for me, the overall message is just overall change, overall acceptance of people, being open-minded, and kind of just bettering yourself. In turn, you will better others. Now, I know a lot of people are there for political reasons, and they're there for statistics. They're there to change Parliament and to change that whole side of things. I'm all for that. Absolutely, because I don't think that things are being run how they could be and how they should be. But personally, my main thing is to basically just enlighten people, I guess. I mean, to show people that not everybody on the street is bad. Like, I think we've been living in fear for far too long, and we kind of need to get around that and realize that no, there's no reason to. The mass media has showed us that everything is bad, but really it's not. I mean, huge example of that is hitchhiking. I am a firm believer in hitchhiking, and I will honestly say that I've never done it before. I've never done it before out of unwillingness, I guess you could say, out of leaving something behind when I leave, and partially out of fear. And I've met so many people in my travels, not even just with this, just in my travels over time, that have said no. It is dangerous, but no dangerous than carrying out your daily life. I mean, I've met so many people here who hitchhike for a living. That's how they get around.
Yeah.
Everybody is bad. It's like, that's kind of the reason I'm there. Is basically, and on top of all that is to learn for myself so that I can help other people.
That's perfect. No, you couldn't have said it any better, eh? Forever the teacher and forever the student.
Exactly, yeah.
Find balance in both.
On my Facebook, there is a ton of pictures. Well, I do the Facebook. You're welcome to use as many pictures as you like. Or whatever you
That's
want.
awesome.
I have videos as well. I haven't put them up yet, but if you have another website or somewhere else where you'd rather me put the pictures up that you wanted to see, by all means.
Sure, you can throw them up on my YouTube channel if you want, or if you have a YouTube channel, you can plug that here so that people can know where to find it.
No, I do, but I don't know what it is. I don't use it very often. I write my own songs, so that's basically all I use it for. I haven't used it in quite a while. I did actually write a song before I went down to the march and everything, and it was kind of written in regards to Wall Street and everything that was going on down there before I left. Now, one thing I do want to add here, just quickly before we leave, is that
for sure.
I've met a lot of people who have come from the different occupations, I guess, from all around Canada, from the States. They are all, as far as I can tell, very well organized. Now, the Toronto one, over the general consensus that I've seen and heard, is by far the most organized, the most peaceful, the best run. And I mean, we learned it here off watching other people, and it just shows that in learning you can be a teacher, exactly like what you said.
No, for sure. That's fantastic. That's something I wanted to touch on too, was the idea that there's all someone big and bad and scary behind all of these Occupy different cities, Occupy Toronto and whatnot. Do you get the sense of that at all while you're there?
No, I don't actually.
That's good. I had to ask because, even I've heard it a bit, and my answer to that is that even if it was a general elitist idea to do it, I honestly I believe that the power and the intent of the people will override it, and they bit off more than they can chew if they thought that they could control it. So I think that what I see from all the different, you saw the nastiness that happened in New York, but from what I see now coming from different cities is a lot more love and unity. And that's something that you have absolutely exemplified in your account of what you have gone through while being at Occupy Toronto.
Yeah, and with regards to that, all it takes is one person for the media to hop on and exploit it. And anybody who only watches the news, which is a vast majority, will see that and say, look, this is a bad thing, they're not doing something right, they're doing a terrible thing. But really, if you have thousands and thousands and thousands of people, there's going to be a small group of people who are going to, just for the sake of ruining it, try and ruin it for someone. Or even just try to cause trouble. And as soon as you see that, they automatically clump those people with the whole occupation. And that's not the way it should be. We've done a really good job, and I say we, I mean everybody with all the occupations, but I can only speak for Toronto because that's where I've been, of really having a positive way of sort of dealing with those people instead of kicking them out, because we're not about that. It's kind of what the for is, having everybody come in, anybody from anywhere. Maybe giving them, they're more just misunderstood rather than there to cause trouble. So trying to maybe get them to do another job or persuade them in some other way so that they're not telling each other, because maybe that's not why they're actually there. They're just misunderstood.
Good point. That's definitely a good point. Now, how have your parents and your relatives, have they been supportive of what you're doing, your family?
Yes and no. I mean, they're supportive of it. They're pretty much supportive of anything that I do to an extent, but I don't think they really understand it. For a lot of the part, I'm trying. I'm trying to explain it. But it's part of the reason why I'm there as well is because I want people to understand it. I want people to understand why we're there, that it's not a bad thing. It's a completely positive thing, and it will help everybody. If everybody does something to contribute, it will help everybody. And it's a misunderstanding. It's people not understanding why people are there.
So for everybody out there who can go to Toronto and spend some time, even this weekend, by all means, it's the 20th of October, 2011. There's lots of time. Join.
Absolutely. And I mean, you don't even have to go. If you're unable to make it, find somebody who is going. Like, here's another great example is I did actually come back home for a couple hours. I believe it was on Sunday. And when I came home, I just happened to be on the Occupy Toronto website. And one of the ideas somebody brought up in the chat board was just name off where you're from and where you are right now. So I told them I was in Welland, and Food Not Bombs from Niagara actually got a hold of me, knowing that I was in Welland and had plans to go back up. They sent me up with, I think it was 25 or 22 mason jars of vegan soup as
That's
donations
beautiful.
on the way up, and it was delicious, and it was just such a good donation because they couldn't be there. So instead of that, they contributed in some other way. And I mean, it could be as simple as a pair of socks.
That's fantastic. When are you guys going up again?
I think we're going up tomorrow at some point.
Tomorrow at some point.
Around 7 or 8 o'clock, somewhere around there.
Well, I should probably make something and donate something to you guys. I can make a big pot of something if you'd like to take it up and have it.
The only thing that we ask is no meat, just because it expires quickly, right? But all the food that we're giving out is all vegetarian.
Well, that's fantastic. Good stuff. I can honestly say, as a fellow sentient being, I am proud. Absolutely tickled pink that this is what's transpiring out of all of this, and that we're seeing humanity unite in a way that I've never seen in my 36 years. I've never seen anything like this. It's just exploding. Now, are you guys getting ready for preparations for the cold weather?
We are. There's been talk, actually one of the committees that we have is an adventure committee, which I thought was kind of neat. I didn't have a chance to go to any of the committee meetings for that, but right now we're looking into solar power. We're looking into ways to deal with the cold, ways to preserve our food, and basically, we're looking to stay out for the long haul. We're trying to figure out what we can possibly do to help each other survive through the winter. We've had talk of possibly giant community tents, but maybe we'll just have quite a few people in one tent and just sharing the warmth off people's bodies. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, definitely. And if you have some solar panels, you can put some heaters in there too.
Exactly. Yep, that's definitely one of the things. I mean, right now we are running off generators, but the overall plan is to kind of be as environmentally friendly as possible. So
for sure,
it's fine to start with that, but we're kind of trying to work away with that. So we're trying to kind of move away from that.
That's excellent. Well, you work with what you have and you try and expand from there, right?
Exactly.
It's the best that you can do. And again, congratulations to all of you, and give our love to everybody that you see. And I really hope to see this last. And you can expect donations from us. We have 2 small children, or else we'd be right there with you.
I know. I could see it on John's face when I was explaining what was going on, that he definitely wanted to be there.
Yeah, I might send him up for a weekend just so he can go and play. But yeah, you know what? Everybody that can and believes in what this movement stands for, which is change and a complete overhaul of the financial system and this corporate mess that has become our land. And what's that?
And I mean, it's as simple as thinking outside the box. I mean, when I heard about this the first time, I didn't think it was possible. I mean, I thought I was all for supporting it, but at the same time, I kind of had my doubts. And you really don't understand until you talk to someone who's been there, look at pictures, do a little research, and find out that yes, this is possible, and it's working quite smoothly. It's not that far out of the box to think that humanity can work together, as opposed to having one or two people in charge taking over everything.
It's wonderful to see that everybody's working as a team, as a community, as a committee. Everybody's getting together, and there's no ego involved.
Nope, there's not.
Which is
it's unheard of.
Yeah, exactly.
Up until this point, anyway. I mean, yeah, I've never been involved in anything like this, and I'm not even a protester. Like I've never been to a protest before. This is just something that I knew I had to do, something I knew I had to be a part of, and it's like I said, it's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life.
It seems to be outside of the box of protest, though, doesn't it?
It does. I don't even call it a protest. Actually, I would call it more of a movement.
Yeah, movement. It's a global occupation. But yeah, it's beyond protest. I've never seen anything like this before, and like I said, it's absolutely beautiful. So, if it does last all throughout the winter, do you plan on just trucking on and going as much as you possibly can back and forth?
Absolutely. Yep. And I mean, the farther it goes, the more people I meet. I've already met a couple people who are there, who are from Niagara, and we're going to kind of work on a ride system so that we can kind of coordinate with each other, find out when we're going back and forth, and that way we don't have to take the bus all the time. That's
a great idea. Carpooling. There's just so many ways that everybody can get involved if they can and they choose to. And what would be your advice to somebody who's feeling like they want to go but they're a bit nervous?
Just do it. Just go, even if it means if you have the option to go and you're nervous about it, go to the park, walk through the park for 5 minutes. I guarantee that as soon as you step into that park, your overall vibe will change. If it doesn't, we're doing something wrong. I promise that it will, because that's how I felt, that's how everybody who's there has felt. If you go in with an open mind and accept change and accept the fact that people can work together and this is going smoothly, and also accept the fact that we have only been at this for a week. We do have our problems. If you think about it, we're, like you said, we're redoing the system. We're recreating what's already there, a completely flip and opposite of how it's been built. So we do have our snags, and we're coming up with solutions to everything every day. And if you walk in open-minded, you will probably stay.
Open mind, ego out the door, and everything will be good.
Exactly.
Well said. Well said. Do you have any last words for any of the listeners? I know that was kind of advice to a few. Do you have any last words for everybody else that's listening here?
If I was a prepared man, I would have had websites written down, donation websites and everything else. Unfortunately, I don't. I know that if you go to Facebook, you can go to the Occupy Toronto Market Exchange, and that will actually that's got constant updates for it. You can find the Twitter, I believe it's Occupy Toronto. Everything's pretty simple. It's usually Occupy Toronto. I think it's also occupytoronto.org. Don't quote me on any of these because I could be wrong, but I mean, if you search it in Google, it'll pop up everywhere. If you want to make donations, you can make 50-cent donations or 25-cent donations. Every little thing counts, and every little thing helps.
That's beautiful. And I'm sure that there'll be a lot of people that are willing to donate. You've already seen heaps of people banding together and donating as it is. And I see this growing and becoming more and more and more. It's just flourishing.
Yeah, I could probably talk about this for 4 hours if I had the time.
If you want to, if there's anything else that you want to say, anything that you want to add, I know I keep saying, well, maybe we should I keep feeling bad because it's late, for everybody, but anything else that you want to talk about, please do.
One thing I would like to say is I'd like to throw a huge, huge thank you to everybody in the surrounding area. They've really, really come to understand why we're there. Many of them have come to join us. The residents who live there, we're very open to other options. We're very open to listening to people's opinions. A good example of that is we had the food tent set up. We're actually on partial church property who's agreed to work with us 100%. We had a food tent set up right behind the church, and when I was out with the night owl crew one night, we had a couple come by with 2 dogs. Now what that used to be is it used to be an off-leash dog park. So now that it's filled with tents and we had a food tent there, we couldn't have the dogs with the food tent for sanitary reasons. So we kindly asked them to maybe, not necessarily put them on a leash, but maybe just kind of move them over a little bit. And they explained to us what it was before we were there. Now, we completely understand that. So what we did was we actually moved over the entire food tent over out of what was the dog park. And I saw them again in the morning at about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. And they were extremely grateful. They were more than willing to work with us, help us out. I mean, we've had people come down and say, look, I live right around the corner. If you guys need showers or you need to come in, maybe you need a shelter and you don't have enough people, doors are open. And that, to me, that is a huge step for anybody to make. I mean, to have a complete stranger come into your house and trust them to shower in your house and even just enter, I mean, that shows how much of a difference this is in the making.
So the community's also chipping in and helping you guys as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
How have the local shops been and stuff?
They've been really, really good. They've allowed us to use the washrooms. I mean, it works both ways, right? We've got countless amount of people in this park. They're going to go eat somewhere. I mean, we have tons and tons and tons of food there. But a lot of them will go for a coffee at the local coffee shops and stuff. So they're getting really good business. And in turn, they're allowing us to use the washrooms openly. They're allowing us to even just come in if it's raining and sit down. They don't mind it. They don't mind that maybe they're a little more packed than usual. Some of them have actually even sent out coffee donations. At 6 o'clock in the morning, they'll come out with huge amounts of coffee. Who doesn't like coffee?
Yeah, for sure. That's beautiful. Oh, wow. So is there any story that you can tell us that stands out in your mind that moved you the most while you've been there?
There's so many, it's really hard to choose.
You can tell a few.
A lot of them are just personal stories from people who I've met. One of them was a guy, he was, I would say, early 20s, probably about my age, maybe 22, 25, somewhere in there. He has grew up in Canada. He ended up traveling down to the States pretty deep, did a lot of traveling. Anyway, before this happened, he had an apartment. He actually decided to move out of his apartment completely and completely move into the occupation. And that, to me, was awesome. I mean, that blew me away.
Wow.
And not only did he move there, it wasn't like he moved there and was taking advantage of the food and free everything. He moved there and he's been involved in so many, I think right now he's in a food tent. I mean, he's been involved in so many of the committees and helping out so much that it just works.
That's beautiful. Like, yeah, he's not just some guy who decided to live there and live off of everybody that was there. He decided to go and actually do this the right way.
Right, exactly.
That's fantastic.
And there's so many who have been like that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
There's so many who have been like that. Another huge example of that, major example. Before we occupied this park, it was a pretty big spot for the homeless to come and sleep out. It's quite a nice park. So they'd come out there and they'd sleep out. So when we occupied it, we took over their territory. So in turn, I mean, they're loving it because we provided them with shelter.
And food.
Tents, food, clothing. And it's not like they're just sitting around doing nothing. They're helping us. They know that they're in something big. And I mean, this general perception of, oh, he's homeless, he must be a crackhead, he must do drugs, he must have done something wrong in life to be there. That's not the case. I would say 90% of the people I have met who are homeless, they've lost their jobs, they've had cuts, they couldn't pay the mortgage, they couldn't pay whatever, and that's why they're homeless. They're not searching for drugs. They're not out there just trying to get their next fix. They're more than willing to help us because they know that not only are we helping them back, but we're helping everybody around us.
That's beautiful. You know what? And the fact that they're coming out there and realizing that they're in a safe community as well. And that they can turn around and they can build off of that because people are understanding that it's not about the money anymore.
Exactly. And on that topic, actually, I know I said earlier that donations are much appreciated for money, and they certainly are. But what we're looking for more than that is even food or water or clothing. We actually have, I don't know the exact number, but I do know that we have a large donation of the money coming in. And I think when I was there last, I think the most that we've spent may have been $20.
Wow.
Yeah, because there's been such a large amount of help from everybody in the occupation and everybody from the community helping us out and just becoming a part of this big picture that's growing and growing and growing.
There's just been no need for money.
Right? And I mean, it's nice to have, I suppose, as a backup, but at the same time, it's kind of nice to say, look, thank you for the money, but we don't need it right now.
That's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. It's just proving a point. Everybody can work together without the fiat currency. Yay. That makes me happy. Another one for the good guys, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to think of some other stories that I ran into while I was there. Yeah, I mean, another example of, like I said earlier, meeting friends down there and stuff. A good way that I've met people is by exchanging goods. I know I went down there with a lot of clothes, and I'm certainly not the only one. With many, many, many people. I went down there with my own clothes, and really had no intention off the bat of donating them because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if I would need them or not. Turns out I went down there with way more than I needed. So I donated clothes, I donated all kinds of this extra stuff that I brought to people, and it's a fantastic way to meet people because you'd be surprised how grateful people are when their tent's falling over and you walk up to them and say, hey, look, I've got extra plastic. Can you use this? Can I help you build your tent? And you really do become friends with people that way. I met a girl who I'm legitimately friends with now. Her name is Amy. And we were just, I don't know how we ran into each other. Somehow we ended up talking. She had to go home for a day. So she put her tent up and said that it was vacant. So if anybody wanted to use it, they were more than happy to. And I said, if I see anybody, I'll send them that way. And it turns out I ran into a guy who had been traveling. He actually came here all the way from Australia. And he did the same thing I did. Essentially, he came down with nothing and just kind of hoped for the best or figured that he would just live with what he had. And the rain came, and so it just kind of one thing after another. By Amy donating her tent, he ended up in the tent for the night. And I mean, it's just a great way to meet people.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Everybody's, like I said, everybody's banding together and everybody's just, it's this beautiful little town that you're creating on this park.
Yeah, I'm sick of leaving my house and worrying about getting off my door.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that here. Like my tent, like I said, I didn't bring much with me as far as like tenting goes. I brought a tarp and I turned the tarp into just like a little lean-to kind of thing. So anything that I had in there was very exposed, and I left everything that I had with me because I didn't want to carry it around all the time. I left it in the tarp, and nothing was sold. It wasn't an issue.
That's great. That's just great. So there's an absolutely fantastic vibe in Toronto right now. And there is an incredible amount of love generating from it. Would you say that's pretty much it?
That pretty well sums it up. Yeah, it's a mixture of art, culture, messages, learning, teaching, coming together. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal.
What do you think you guys are going to get out of all of this? What do you think is going to come out of all of this big, huge occupation? What is just in your opinion, what are your thoughts? What do you think we're all going to get from this grand gesture of unity?
I think we'll get global awareness. I know that it is working because I'm not a political guy, like I said earlier, but I did end up, a friend actually had me watching the Republican debates on TV the other day, and yesterday, I think it was. Their total mood changed from, I can't even remember what it was. Whatever it was they were talking about completely took a swing, and now they're talking about jobs. They're talking about what can we do to kind of change things in the financial side of things. So, I mean, it shows that it has made a difference, and I know that that is the stage, but it shows that it works. It shows that it does make a difference, and even if it's small things like that, in time, those small things will build up, and either people will say, look, we're sick of this, and the general, the public, the majority will actually take over and make a difference. Or, I mean, it could go as far as even like political figureheads might even take a look at it and say, look, these people are right. Look at this. It's working fine.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, dear. I am going to let you go. It is late. And I am, again, so thankful that you decided to come onto the show and talk to me about what you've been doing and where you've been and what's going on in Occupy Toronto. It's fantastic. We're going to be airing this hopefully by tomorrow, which will be the 21st. And please come back and tell us what happens Monday or Tuesday, what's going to happen over the weekend, because I'm sure that it's grown since you've left.
Oh, I guarantee it has, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, thank you so much for helping me get the message out there. It's definitely appreciated.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my absolute pleasure. And yeah, anybody who can join in on the fun, please do, because it's all for, as far as I'm concerned, it's all for a good cause. And everybody just wants a better life, a better way, because this way that we've been living, it just ain't working.
No.
Any final words?
Just thank you, I guess.
No problem, anytime. And yeah, we'll hopefully the listeners will get to talk to you again real soon, or listen to you again real soon. I'll get to talk to you again real soon. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. This has been Lifting the Veil. I'm Cari-Lee. Until next time, peace.